Welcome guys to my daily CARS video. So CARS stand for Capsular Articulated Rotations, or in some instances, Controlled Articulated Rotations. Now I'm going to be taking you through my personal morning routine. So it's going to be like the Josh Hardy version of how we approach CARS. If you are wondering what CARS actually are, I'll put a link in the description to explain where you can access my physio if you are in Perth, who has taught this to me, or actual functional range conditioning with Dr. Andrea Spinal. Hopefully I got his name right, but he actually is the guy who kind of put this modality together, and I'll link his website in as well, because through functional range conditioning, they have their specific way of doing this. So going into it, the way I do my morning routine is what you guys are seeing on Instagram every day. I just do 2 per side, and I start from ahead and go the way down. So this video is designed for you to do with me, so when I start, it's so that you can do this second for second, minute for minute with me. So we're gonna start with doing a neck car. We're gonna go 2 on the left side and then 2 on the right side. Then we're gonna go into the spine, go through those, and then there's gonna be the scap cars, and then there's gonna be the whole arm and shoulder car. And then from there, we're gonna go into hip, which is moving the leg out. And then we're gonna take a seat and then just kind of move out, get some tibial rotation through here, and then do our ankle cars. If we're in a rush, we'll be able to smash this out in literally about 5 minutes. When we actually do this, I prefer to take my time and take 10 to 15 minutes. So get yourselves in position, and we're gonna start with our neck car. So even though I've got the microphone in my hand, I actually want you to push your hands into your body into this position, because capsular articulated rotations or controlled articulated rotations mean if we're trying to focus on the neck, no other part of the body is allowed to move. It will a little bit, you'll notice it, but it's not allowed to move, so that when we actually start twisting and rolling the neck, only the neck joint is the one that's actually moving. So what we do is we do a thing called creating a radiation by pushing into our chest. That locks our shoulders in position, and we're just gonna mildly squeeze everything tight. Glutes, core, quads, calves, even grip the ground with our toes, just so that everything's nice and stiff. You can see me even clenching my biceps. And from here, I'm gonna lift my head up tall and then just draw my chin down. From there, I'm gonna scrape my chin across my collarbone until I reach the end. Once I'm at this point, I'm gonna drop my ear down to my shoulder. And then from here, I'm just gonna roll my head, chin to the roof, nice and slow, rolling all the way through and finding those stretch points. If you have a point where it's kind of sticky, let's say from here to here, it's just a little bit stickier, that's when you slow it down. We're gonna do the same side again. I'm gonna go from side on this time so you guys can see. Head up tall, chin down, scrape, collarbone, ear to shoulder, and then roll the chin open, back down the center, and then coming back up. Other side now, chin down, scrape the collarbone, drop the ear down, roll, nice and slow, until you come back to the center line. Head back up. I'm going to show you again from side on. Head up tall, chin down, scrape the collarbone, drop the ear down, and just roll, 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 all the way down, coming back up. Next one is going to be the spinal cars. When we do the spinal cars, again, it's the exact same movement as what the neck was doing, but now it's the whole spine. So we're going to lift up nice and tall, pushing in. We're going to roll our chin and our upper spine down. From here, we're going to keep the glutes nice and tight, so that when I rotate my body, see how my hips are still facing forward, but I'm cranking my torso to the side. So you're going to roll down, crank to one side, and then just like the ear to the shoulder, you're going to drop down again. And then from here, you're going to lead with that bottom shoulder, and you're going to roll as your left ear comes to the roof. And then I'm going to take a big breath up into my chest as I sit nice and tall, chest to the sky, and then rolling through back around. Now, if you notice on me, when I come back to here, if I lean like this, you'll see round about here is my main hinge point. A lot of us tend to have that. What we're trying to do is not dominate our bend from here, but spread that bend through every one of our vertebrae. So that's when I say lift up tall, then try and point the chest up. I call this saluting the sun gods, because imagine there was the sun gods and how we would actually point our chest and our heart up to the sky and actually saluting these gods, neck up, chin up. That's what we're trying to do, because that helps open up our thoracic. So again, we're going to do the same side again. So pushing into the chest, you're going to twist, sorry, let me do that one right. We're going to flex down, then we're going to twist, then we're going to drop down again, and then we're going to hang and roll, chest and chin to the sun gods, rolling all the way through, coming back down to our center line, coming back up. Now we're going to do the other side. We're going to come down, we're going to crank to the left, we're going to drop down again, and then we're just going to twist and roll, salute the sun gods and come through, rolling all the way back to the front, coming up. Same thing again, I'm just going to show you guys from the side on this side. Chin down, twist, drop, and then roll the shoulder, salute the sun gods, and rolling all the way through. Whew. Well, it makes me feel good. So that's our neck and our spine done. Next thing is going to be the shoulder or the scapula. So you can either do it in this position, so you want to have your arm slightly out, or you can just kind of, what was the other way we do it? Either right in front. To be honest, personally, I prefer it to be a little bit here as opposed to here. Some people prefer this. Personally, I like to be out in the 45. Now, if we imagine our shoulder here, or our scapula, it can move forward, it can move back, it can move up, and it can move down. So imagine you're trying to trace a square box, which means we're gonna, if we go down, we're gonna try and find that bottom down corner, then we're gonna try and find that forward and upper corner, the back top, and then the back down, okay? So what you wanna be doing, I'm gonna do, actually, I'm just gonna yell at the microphone from over here. So making two fists in this position, you're gonna drive, actually I'll start from side on, you're gonna drive your shoulders back until your shoulder blades are like squeezing together. So you're gonna drive back, find your bottom back corner, stay at the bottom, go forward to your front bottom corner, then you're gonna elevate up, staying forward, and then taking yourself back to that top corner again. You're gonna scrape back down, then go to the bottom front corner, then you're gonna go to the top front, and then you're gonna come back to that top back corner, and then coming back down, and then now we're gonna do 2 more reps doing the opposite direction. So we're gonna come straight back up to that top corner, then we're gonna stay on the top to the front top corner, then we're gonna come all the way down, driving back to the bottom back corner, elevating up, coming through. I'm gonna go 1 more lap, back down, scrape, up to the top, and then relax. And that's your scap ones done. The next one is my favorite. This is kind of like a little backstroke. We're basically going to do like a backstroke thing here. Now when we do this movement, pay close attention to your torso, because when I do this with myself and my clients, this is when we tend to flex or twist or rotate the neck as well. So I'm going to start from side on for this one, because this is what I call the 12 o'clock point. So what's going to happen is you're going to turn your palm all the way out. So you're going to turn all the way out like that, and you're going to come across the body a little bit. So you're allowing that shoulder blade protraction as you reach up. So we're going to start with our right arm going forward, and then what I suggest you do is put your left hand here, because what people have to do is they tend to kind of twist. So if you kind of hold yourself in position, stops the rest of the body from rotating. So from here, we're going to turn the arm out. We're going to take the shoulder and arm forward, and keeping that palm to the sky, elevate the shoulder until we hit our 12 o'clock position. Once we hit our 12 o'clock position, we're going to fully crank the arm in the opposite direction. This is called internal rotation. And then keep cranking that internal rotation as you go through this sticky point, and keep reaching and reaching, going for the maximum distance of what your joint allows you to do. And then coming back down to the hip, and then again crank internal rotation again, and then just reverse that movement, driving the shoulder back, coming all the way up through that sticky point, hitting your 12 o'clock position, and then rotating out, and then coming across again. From the front angle, we're going to crank that arm out, We're going to take it across the body. We're going to elevate all the way up to our 12 o'clock point. Once we hit there, we're going to crank the internal rotation the complete opposite direction. Nice and slow. You'll even see my head and torso. It's fighting to want to drift as I kind of scrape through this end range that I've got available to me. Down to the hip now. We're going to crank back in again, and I'm going to drive the arm and shoulder back all the way through the sticky point, making sure nothing else moves apart from the shoulder joint. Hit 12 o'clock, external rotation, coming all the way through. Whew. Makes my shoulders feel good. Now this is a fun thing. Now you've done one side with 2 reps and not the other side. I now want you to do both arms and just do this. And as you do that, just pay attention to the difference of available mobility you have in your shoulder from your left to your right now that one's done 2 reps of the cars. Fun fact, when I get new clients on board, I make them do cars on one shoulder for 7 days straight so they actually feel the difference between their shoulders. And once people have done that, they're like, oh no shit, these are the best thing ever. So we're going to go to the left side now, starting from the front position, cranking that arm out. We're going to come across the body, elevate all the way up to that top position, 12 o'clock, and crank into internal rotation. And keep cranking and driving that shoulder back and through its end range, and keep scraping that joint's capability until you come back down to the hip. Same again, crank internal rotation, drive all the way back, coming up all the way to the top. Crank to your external rotation, taking the shoulder forward, coming back down. Second rep on the shoulder, crank out across the body and up into elevation of the shoulder. Rotate inwards, full internal rotation, and then come back in. Keep cranking your internal rotation all the way back down to the hip, and from there, crank it internal rotation again. Keep making sure that shoulder stays internally rotated the whole time, nice and slow through your sticky point. Oh, Jesus. And then hit 12 o'clock, external rotation, coming across the body. Oh my golly gosh, my shoulders feel good. Hoping yours do now. We're gonna move into our hips now. Best way to do this is to make a fist into this T position and actually get both arms to do that. If you're struggling with balance, if you're gonna be a bit wobbly, then grab something like either a wall, or if you're freestanding like me, you would just grab a broomstick and then use one broomstick for stability. I don't need it because I'm filming, I'm trying to look really stable and balanced for you guys, so hopefully I don't wobble. What we're gonna do, we'll just do a quick demo, is that leg's gonna come up to maximum height without the hip wanting to bend. Once we get to there, we're gonna do our maximum external rotation, which is this, and you're gonna try and take that knee out into the highest position we can. And once we hit our side point, you want to internally rotate. So, whoa, shit, here we go. You want to drive that heel up and imagine like you're doing a hurdle. You're actually hurdling. And always be careful, you'll see this in me. I'm going to try and crank my hip up. That's not what we want to do, but this is naturally what my body tries to do, which is what I'm working through. So with no further ado, I'm going to start with this guy here. We're going to hold ourselves in a nice stable position. We're going to raise the knee up to max height. Then we're going to trace that top of the joint into max height there, hit our end range, crank that internal rotation into that hurdle position, and then we're going to squeeze that ass, squeeze the glute to drive that knee back, and then keep trying cranking that internal rotation as you come back to the body. And then relax for a second. Same thing again, squeeze that glute to get yourself into that hip extension, crank that internal rotation all the way up, keep that knee and heel high, up over the hurdle. Once you hit that point, crank your external rotation, coming back, coming down. Oh man, I hate the hip ones, Sam. Hip ones just annoy me. All right, knee up again, same one, here we go. Cranking that external rotation, driving that knee out, getting into that hurdle position, internal rotation at the hip, squeezing that glute, driving into hip hip extension, and then just coming like over the hurdle, back into external rotation, coming across and placing the foot. If you saw a little glitch in the shot just then, it's because we ran out of space on the memory card and had to do a quick swap. Going into this leg now, same thing. Making sure you got that fist out nice and tight. If you are holding onto something, good on ya. Making sure that everything else is in position and try and avoid any sort of hip crank or any sort of back extension that might come through as well. Mia, knee's gonna come up nice and high. into that external rotation of the femur, which is this bone here. We're going to trace the height of that joint capability until we get to here. Go into our hurdle position, so internal rotation. Keep that knee and that heel as high as possible. Fuck, I fucked that one up, didn't I? Let's just keep going. Keep that as high as possible. And then cranking all the way through into hip extension and back down. Relax for a second. Coming up, squeezing that glute, then going into internal rotation. Cranking all the way up into that knee getting high over the hurdle. And then coming back down. Did a shocking job of that. My tendons are killing me over here. I'm going to do the same thing from side, and you'll probably be able to see if I have any sort of back arch as I go through this. The last one, make a fist here. I'm going to drive that knee up nice and high, crank into external rotation, coming out nice and wide, getting into that hip internal rotation position, squeezing that glute to stay into hip extension, bringing the knee down, relax for a second, heel comes up, squeezing the glute into hip extension, cranking internal rotation, bringing the knee up and over the hurdle into external rotation across the body and back down. Jeez, that's your hips done. I'm getting a sweat on here. We're going to change camera angles now, just get into a seated position. We're just going to finish off on knees and ankles. All right, we do a bit of like a knee, it's like a rear naked choke if you ever know the wrestling position, but you're going to get your leg up and then you're going to put your forearm underneath your thigh, and then from there, this hand is going to grab onto this forearm like that, and then that holds you in position to then lift up to here. What we're going to be doing is we're just going to do our internal and external rotations of the tibia, which are actually controlled by the outer and the inner hamstring. So in this position, this literally takes a couple of seconds, and you can also use this hand to help rotate the shin, so you're teaching your body what movement you want to do. So from here, you're just going to crank external, internal, external, internal, external, internal. Just a couple of sweet little dials. Try and avoid the foot from moving. It will want to move. It's okay if it does, but as long as you're focusing on that cranking of this one. That's one knee done. I do this knee as well. My internal is a bit stiff on this side, so because it's a bit stiff, I can just grab it with my hand and just turn it in, just to give the knee a bit of assistance. And that's the knees done. I'm going to go back into our position again, and we're just going to do our ankle cars now. So you're just going to bring the toe up towards the shin, scraping all the way around your maximum position and your maximum availability. You're going to 2 one way, and then 2 anti-clockwise. And that's it on one side. Back to here. 2 clockwise. Nice and slow and cranking it, and then anti-clockwise, just 2 like that. And then we're just going to finish off on toes. So Sam, you can just zoom in on my blistered feet from all my marathon training. All right, so now we're zoomed in on my feet, just so you guys know that Sam's editing this video and she hates feet. So Sam, here's some blistered skin here, and this is my ranked toenail that's about to come off from all the running. So what we want to do is we're just trying to separate the big toe from the little toe. So we come up, lift the toes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then we go big toe up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Then we're here, we go pinky toe up, down, up, down, up, down. And then what I do is I just play around with just moving my feet in whatever way I feel like it, knowing that I can actually try and move these guys irrespective of the other ones. It's basically you got these guys and then just play around with what the pinky toe can do as well. And then you do the same thing for the other side. So toes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then you keep them up. Go big toe up, down, up, down. See my big toe, this guy got messed up from a soccer game from like 8 years ago. And then this guy wants to move a bit more, then holding them up, seeing the pinky toe, and then just hold the pinky toe, and then playing piano with my toes, and then just playing around with what controls. See how as I try and move these toes, this big toe just wants to stay down, boy. There we go. That's what we're trying to. I need to do some more work on my left toes. But you're just giving a bit of a toe wiggle, and what this does, it gives the foot neural stability. It teaches the brain how to connect to these little areas, so that not only can the toes create stability, the ankle can start to move freely because the foot is a more of a stable function there as well. So guys, that's my morning routine. I put aside 15 minutes to do this. Sometimes when I'm in a rush, I literally can get away with this in about 5 to 6 minutes. I literally just go neck, and I just race around and just go through. It's never gonna be as effective, but it's still better than not doing it. And I do this daily. After the Ironman, I took a couple of days off because I was so wrecked, but between now and when I started doing this, it's been, I think, 4 months straight now, apart from that Ironman weekend, which I didn't do it because I was wrecked. But it's been really effective on my body, and that's why I'm making this video for you guys, because everyone's DMing me on Instagram being like, Josh, what the fuck are these CARS things that you're doing? I'm like, these are actually what I learned through functional range conditioning, through CAM, my physio, and we're working on this to make sure that my body is strong and stable enough to handle the workloads of Ironman training and working on the gym as well. So guys, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions, comment below, or just send me a message on Instagram. And don't ask me what CARS are on Instagram anymore. Watch this video. See you guys. Peace out.